Good evening, everybody. How are we all? Welcome to, Chris has called us a bunch of things, but apparently this is called a Geordie show, which we're all going to get trouble at because apparently I'm not Geordie because I don't speak it. Even I was born there, in trouble, so why we don't call us the people with accents who do definitely support Newcastle. Here he is, and here's Win. He's at the
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Good evening.
All right, as I say, the Millennium Bridge and the Baltic
Perfect.
behind me. I've sent you, Paul. I've sent you 2 videos that I've done already.
I'm in the process of downloading them, my friend.
All right, because sadly, the pitch that I was going to get, the Pitcher in Piana, the pub which is directly opposite, has been taken over by all the Salah VIPs.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't get in there. So I can't get any Wi-Fi. So I'm doing all this on 5G. How's it coming across? Because I can't even see you, lot.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah.
I can't see you. I can't see you at all.
Probably better off, mate.
I could say that's a better approach, isn't it? If you can't see us.
So while I was waiting before there, so I couldn't get a paint. So I've just sneaked away to get a paint, and I'm on my way back now. And while I was waiting initially, I bumped into Eddie from Tyneside Life, so I got a little clip with him. And he's told me that there's going to be holograms of Shearer and Milburn walking on water and all sorts of that stuff. But the show doesn't actually start until 10:30 now.
Oh, really?
It's not going to be dark enough. And they're doing 2 shows, one at 10:30 and one at 11 o'clock. 8-minute shows they are. So we're going to be finished by the time they come on.
No worries. We can always use them for a future show, can't we? On Sunday.
Yeah. But anyway, you can get some idea from the 2 that I've done already. I can't switch this around when I'm in this mode. But you can.
Oh yeah. I thought it'd be a bit busier than that, but
it's early yet, isn't it?
Yeah, true. But then the people queuing outside the shop for the kits. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yeah. So everybody's in for a long wait. But it's pointless me being on. It's pointless me being on right now, I don't think.
Make yourself a decent spot, man, and then if you want to jump back in and out whenever you feel the need, you can do.
If anything happens, I'll jump in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. That's good. Have a great night, buddy.
Is it coming over? Does it sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Right.
You have to invest in one of those little mics like Eddie does on Tyneside Life, man. Should have pinched his.
Right. I mean, you thought they would have some sort of, refreshments on, but they haven't. Anyways, I'll see what I can get.
Yeah. No worries, mate.
See you later.
Okay. Well, it's good to our Raymond reporter Win on the case. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, obviously we'll touch on it. I mean, the kit launch was, that video was still something that I just keep watching over and over again because it's just some of the best. Just so good. Just really understood the brief. Watched the behind the scenes today as well, and they hired someone who knew the local area. Again, clever from Ada, someone that knows the club. A fan. So again, you're getting that knowledge of of Newcastle and the area. And he even said they wanted to film in real areas that people are going to really recognise. I love that. And then the crowds. From that one bloke there for midnight. Some of the people got about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the line just before opening time, saw the video that Adam Pearson did, and it was past the blooming metro. It was all the way down, literally all the way down towards as if you were going to the metro, down the stairs, all the way down the bottom there, past the entrance to the metro center, to the metro station, all the way to the other steps. I mean, it was unbelievable just for a kit. We're not even in. Imagine if it was Champions League as well. We're just ridiculous. So phenomenal. I mean, again, like it's quite funny because I know people saw it, but JD Sports did a launch as well. But because everyone was so excited about the Newcastle shop opening, JD Sports was like dead. So anyone who wanted the kit probably could have got it from JD Sports at 8 a.m. and had it early. But I just think it's brilliant. Again, when you're buying it from the shop as well, every £5 goes to the Newcastle charity as well. So, really good from everyone involved. I just thought it was brilliant. I think it's been done really well for once. We're actually linked with something that went well and was really nice for the fans for once. What do you reckon, mate?
Well, mate, I watched. I don't know why, but I was online literally from 1 a.m. in the morning, seeing if as and when the kit launched, I could place my order. Being so far away, I would have absolutely loved to have been involved in that. I know people, bless them, were queuing from. The one lad couldn't sleep, and he'd been there from midnight chatting to the security guy, and I just think that's the passion, that's the beauty of the area, and that's something that I miss every day, if I'm honest. And there was, it goes back to the point where I listen to a lot of the crowd and a lot of the social media crap that you have with the black and white stripes at the England game at St James's Park.
Oh God!
People not from the area just do not understand the passion, do not understand what St James's Park and Newcastle means to them, and to them, yes, it's probably, I suppose they're looking at it, it's belittling the England side and all that crap. But from my point of view, from being in that area and growing up in that area, knowing how money's tight for everybody and everybody supports everybody else in certain areas, I don't care what colour you wear. From my point of view, if you can only afford one shirt, get the shirt that you love. You can still support England or another national side if that's what you want. But if you can only afford one shirt, what's the problem in wearing Newcastle shirt at the England match? To me, it made no difference whatsoever. But the build up to it, I know it was all, a lot of it was leaked before it was official. But as soon as I saw it, it put the hairs on the back of my neck up.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're looking for motivation and you're wanting motivational videos to be playing before any game, that to me has got to be one. And bless him, I know it sounds minimal to the effect of it, but putting Alan Shearer's voice on it makes it more authentic to me. They could have picked so many narrators, but him narrating that video, being an icon of the area and a local hero, was that little bit of class that it needed just to finish it off.
Seeing him in the kit again was just like, oh.
Well, he was a proud boy, wasn't he? He was a proud boy.
He'd make a nice signing next season.
Trust me, if only. I'd pay 15 million for him now, wouldn't you?
Right, so as Wim was saying, really quick, it's just downloaded now, so I'm going to play this video. Look, Win is a man who doesn't always understand his phone, so it does go a bit funny with the aspect, but let him off. He is an old man. But here's a little roving report from Win Davis.
Well, hello again, folks. Listen, would you believe who I've just bumped into? Who's also arrived quick on the scene to get a good pitch for the show? The one and only Eddie. from Tyneside Life.
Not Eddie Howe.
Not
The other Eddie H.
the other Eddie.
The landscape now, you're right.
There we go. So Eddie's just telling me that actually the show's not starting till 10:30, and there's going to be 2 8-minute shows apparently, 10:30 and 11 o'clock. So I'm thinking I may just head back to the studio,
Get a pint.
and have a pint on the way naturally. So what's the crack? What do you think? What do you think the object of the exercise is?
Well, it's a huge PR exercise, isn't it? By Seller, our front of shirt sponsors from Saudi Arabia, the events company, of course, to promote the club, the players, the city as a celebration of our whole Newcastle
heritage
and the River Tyne, and it's going to be absolutely amazing.
I'm just thinking that I've got a little sneaking feeling in my own mind that there might be another sponsor getting a mention. I don't know what you think about that.
I haven't heard that.
No, I haven't heard of that. It just seems strange to me at this time at this time of the year that there must be an ulterior motive.
I know we've just went into
it could be Adidas, of course, but
JD Sports have just joined
yeah
forces as well. But I haven't heard of anybody else. I think it's just they've just thought it's the right time with the launch of the Adidas sponsorship, the new shirt, JD Sports, and just to get the fans galvanated, ready for the new season and a celebration of our magnificent area.
Very good. Well, okay. Well, thanks for that, Eddie. Good to talk.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Thanks, Win, and
Thanks,
for
Win.
future reference, you don't need to do all that with your camera, Win.
Bless him.
Well, I appreciate the effort.
My neck
mate.
now for a minute.
Yeah, do appreciate the effort. So thank you very much, and thanks to Eddie. He's a good lad. I've bumped into Eddie many times at many games, so he's a top guy.
Yeah, he's, if anybody's not seen any of Eddie's videos, he does some beautiful stuff, not only about Newcastle United, but also the history of the area. I followed him for years now, it seems, and he touches on a lot about autism as well. So, like I say, anybody with family members that have got it's great viewing. So, give Eddie a look on Tyneside Life. He's brilliant.
Very good, Josh. Very good. But you got to remember that Win's about 110, so he's still getting used to what technology is. He thinks his phone's a microwave still, so you have to let him off sometimes. Thanks for coming in. But again, like the Seller stuff, and they've been really good to us. Again, I think this is great. Again, just to try and connect with the fans. Doing anything just for the sake of doing it. Again, like they don't have to do anything. They could just whatever. Who cares? But again, I like the fact they're trying to connect with the fans and do something. And again, like getting people down to the quayside, projecting it onto this, and then there's talk of it being like holograms and all this, fancy stuff. And again, it's just that whole thing of like they're trying to make the community proud of the football club again. And again, like it's just like going from the times of, I know people get bored of hearing it, but it's just true. But going to the times of Ashley where it was just deep and depressing, and no one was really proud to be a Geordie. No one was really proud to be a Newcastle fan. It was kind of like I support Newcastle kind of under hush breath to a few people. It's a bit embarrassing being a Newcastle fan for times. And like I said, I went to games when I used to cheer and people just tell me off for it, or I walked into a sports direct and someone said to me, "You can't walk in there. You're not allowed to walk in there." And it's like, okay, like what am I going to do if I want to buy a game? Because annoyingly, Game was owned by them and Game was inside of Sports Direct. And well, you're profiting Mike Ashley. It's like, right, okay, well, is everything I do profit Mike Ashley? Everything? Ever? Like, it's a frustrating time to be a fan, and we've come together since the takeover. There's still some fractions of fans that do annoy me. They think we should be Man City already, and they don't understand how football works. They think that we should have them in, Pep Guardiola in charge, and we should have Messi and Mbappe and Ronaldo playing up front, and Gattuso and all that, playing John Terry, prime John Terry, all this rubbish. But the real fans, they're the ones that this is a benefit for, the people who really do care, because it will get there. It's just with all this processing and stuff, we've seen it. We're going to get into it in a minute, but at the moment we are fighting against more than just other Premier League clubs. We're fighting against rules that keep changing. We're fighting against not allowed to have a sponsor. Man City have gone to court about that. So we're trying to gather who we are in this football sphere. And again, with all the other stuff that comes with it, you're promoting a regime, and you're promoting this and you're promoting that, and blah blah blah, and you're just an advertiser.
Nobody ever mentioned the time when Ashley was here. His name on every inch of St James's Park. Well, obviously his shop's name on everywhere, even on the roof, and didn't give us a penny for it. Nobody then, said, "Oh, that's that's not fair," and all this, because you're not getting any money for it. And that's what I said. To me, it's like two-facedness, isn't it? They're very hypocritical in a way, because where were these Premier League sides when we needed support? When we did have more or less a dictator in charge of us that did what he liked, and didn't support the club at all going forward. And I quite agree with what Kenny W's put there. I'm just going to put it up on the screen, guys. The Rubens never get a mention. When the takeover went through, they created over 15 jobs in the area, and it's things like that makes this club so special. It's not just what we do on the pitch, what we do behind the scenes and everything else.
Again, they already put money into local hospitals, and they've done quite a lot for the local area as well. This evil corporation have pumped in money and time into the local area. And again,
which other club have you seen or heard of that every shirt sold, there's £5 going to the NUFC Foundation, a charity? You know what I mean? And these are the things that nobody, Sky Sports never mentioned. None of these guys ever mentioned the good things that happen at the club.
Was it Rubens or was it Murdad? I can't remember who it was now. Whatever the food bank makes on the day, they double. Was that Rubens or was that
Rubens?
Murdad?
It was Rubens. It was Rubens that I heard it through. I don't know whether it was spearheaded by Murdad. But and that's the little things that people never see. But it drives me insane, matey, when, like I say, they jump on our backs as soon as we've got some money behind us, and how they want to, obviously clamp us going forward as a great club, as a historical club.
I mean, Jonathan, we're just back against this, mate. Again, this is linked to what we were just talking about. Sky Sports the last couple of days have been embarrassing. They've really annoyed me and other fans, not just us. They've annoyed Aston Villa fans. They've annoyed Chelsea fans, coming out with a report going, "Hey, these clubs have to sell." What does that do for your market value? If that is true, what does that do? When a club has to sell someone, what do other clubs do then? There's a mentality to this. And they didn't even come up with facts. They just said they might have to. Yeah. They dropped the story after a day because so many people were saying, "Well, brilliant. That's Aston Villa. Villa fans were pestering. It was really, for once, actually good to see." And then today again, it's this whole thing of I've seen about 4 different stories on this that we are considering getting rid of him because we need to get money in, blah blah blah, and then there's really vomit-inducing one where it's you'd be a perfect signing for Liverpool and Arne Slot, and how great that would be for their to rekindle that hope in Liverpool. It's so what? More reading. Yeah. He's gone from being worth 35 million today to 15 to 25 to. I've seen about 4 different valuations for this lad. He hasn't kicked the ball yet. He hasn't kicked the ball in the Premier League.
It's mad. But this is, I don't know whether you watched the show yesterday with Alex Hurst. Very
Yeah.
good show, to be fair. And if anybody hasn't watched it, it was filmed with Chris and Wynne yesterday, with Alex Hurst. And, you know, I popped the question about the EPPP.
Yes.
And obviously he come back and said there's lots of work going on behind the scenes. But it just proves a point. And my argument now with this new regime that we got, the new shackles around us, and like you've just said about Minte, you know, all our homegrown players now. It just seems like any club coming through the ranks now, not the big four or the big six as people say, but mainly the big four. Any player from any other club now, any young player, has to be more or less sold to make the income or the revenue that that you need going forward. So what's the point in developing? What is the point in any club now developing youngsters just to give the top six? Because
Yeah.
that's what you're doing. Any bright young player that comes in through our doors now will be one of the question marks. Like now, people are talking about Minte. If you shout anything about yourself, you're going to be one of the guys that's going to be shown the door. Now,
Mm.
I hope and pray that obviously we get to see Minte before he's shipped out. I think it's an absolute disgrace. Again, we've bought this player. I know he didn't cost us a lot of money, but we've bought this player to obviously support the club going forward. Now, to think that we're going to have to sell him before we've even had a chance to look at him in a black and white shirt, to me, is criminal. But that's where we are in this day and age. We are, like I say,
Yeah.
developing players to be sold. It's not for the future of the club at all. So from that aspect, I think, you know, with the elite player scheme that the Premiership set up 15 years ago now, is only again going to benefit the big clubs.
Yeah. I mean, Raging Phoenix has got my point. What I was going to say next is they've said this thing about, you know, we can't afford or whatever. And then there's other, you know, again, the other news that kind of broke today was that allegedly we've put in a 16, it changes again, different stories, 16 to 15 million pounds on, you know, James Trafford from Burnley. You know, so whether that is, you know, a tester of the water to see if he wants to come or whatever. And again, it's just this whole thing of like, so hang on, what are we doing? Do we need to sell, or have we got money, or Sky Sports, help me out. What we do, like, what are we allowed to do, Sky Sports? Because you keep telling me different things.
That's
You
what
know,
we were saying though before we came on air, though, wasn't it, mate? We were talking about the likes of Ben Jacobs coming out with his statement and from his sources saying that we've only got 50 million to spend. Now, if you take the 30 million out for Hall and you take the, say, 15, 16, 17 million if James Trafford comes along,
yeah,
then we haven't got a real lot of money to buy a forward, a right winger, another defender. So, you know, where do people get these figures from? It just surprises me, to be fair.
just magic's out of thin air, I think. And again, like,
Yeah.
I've seen fans differ on him. I mean, Aaron Ramsdale played for England last night, and we're going to get into that. Don't you worry. I know Chris gets mad, but
Yeah.
we have to talk about England in a minute. But anyway, so, you know, Aaron Ramsdale plays for England last night. All the Newcastle fans will see the goal go in. Don't want him anywhere near us. Fair enough. Okay, I get that. James Trafford saves a penalty last night in an under-21s, you know, in their tournament. And then I've seen people go, get him. Look at that. Look how great he is. It's like some of the fans can't make their minds up like what they want or what they do. You know, it was all, when we lived with Mohamed Ashford, it was like, that's it. He's the one. He's the king.
Yeah.
He's the savior of Newcastle forever. Then they hear links with Trafford, and they're going, why is Eddie Howe obsessed with English players? Blah, 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 blah. You know, and then he saves one penalty, and now he's the best goalkeeper on the planet.
It's mental, isn't it? I was doing a little bit of a look back at Mamardashvili over the season. Now, the one thing people have got to take into consideration is Mamardashvili has literally had a season with an unchanged side. Virtually all the way through, which absolutely massively supports the cause. And I made a comment to the lads on our social media page earlier on where we were messaging each other, and you know, percentages. If you can stop the amount of percentages, look at Iceland. You know, they stopped us from doing anything in their box by hook or by crook. People say it's cheating, it's boring. They come with a game plan. It's up to us to break it down. They stopped the percentages going towards goal. Hence, we didn't score one. We were bloody awful, but we didn't score one. And that's the same. Any goalkeeper is only as good as the defence and the midfield in front of him. And if that's constantly being changed, the percentages of shots going towards goal increases, as we've seen last year. Was all that Dubravka's fault? Yeah, an element were. But if I was to put a question out to you guys now, who was our best keeper in your eyes? I'll put it to you first, Paul. If you was to name one keeper from history from Newcastle, who would you say
It'd be Shay
was the
Given.
best?
Shay Given.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because he was mine as well. Now, Shay Given, let's just take Shay Given for instance, and I'm sure our viewers out there that are keen watching, his last season with us, he shipped in 55 goals.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at James Trafford last season in a relegated side, in a side that obviously wasn't going any further, and under the instructions of his manager was to continue to play out from the back, which wasn't their strengths at all, which put them under an awful amount of pressure, he conceded 62 goals. So there was 7 goals difference from mine and Paul's favoured goalkeeper, and it was his last season. And he was aging, and we've all got excuses for everything that goes on. But you've got to understand that these guys are going to come in. He's 21 years old. Now, I can't see him at all coming in for our number one, and I'd be surprised if that's Eddie's vision. But Eddie's vision is to bring a young side for a development as a future vision, if you like. And he's trying to bring in a squad all of a similar age. Now, by doing that, you get the same banter in the dressing room. You get everybody looking and listening to the similar types of music. And I understand his logic all the way through. My problem with him having that, especially in a goalkeeping position, is experience. Sometimes experience comes with the amount of games that you are involved with. And yes, James Trafford is vulnerable in certain positions. He does make mistakes. But he's also one of these guys under a good team, and I class Pope as being part of that. Again, I don't know too much of our goalkeeping coaches that can develop him on. It's what happens in the here and now going forward. It's not what he's done at Burnley, what he's done at Bolton, or any other clubs that he's gone on loan to. It's what he does now going forward, and that's what we've got to do. We're on about we can't spend a lot of money because we're obviously running close to the PSR. So you've got to look at what we can do, what's within our budget right now. If we've got to go and get a right winger, we've got to go and get a forward, we've got to get another defender. What can we do to fill these plug these holes, I should say, not hole these plugs. And by what he's doing, he's looking for the best talent there is in that bracket, in that price range. Yes, the 40 and 50 millions for the Mamadashvilis and stuff like that. Brilliant, if that's what you've got behind you. But if you haven't, why knocking for going forward and looking at something else that could be, if not better, in another 2 seasons? That's my view, anyway.
Yeah, and you're right, Kenny. He did get dropped, but I don't know whether that was more to do with, company had this, and it's what got him relegated. He wouldn't change his style of football. And I don't think it suited any. I don't know if any goalkeeper would have suited that style, especially for players limited that Burnley had. I don't think you're giving him I'm not saying you are, but I don't think company would have given him a fair, trial there, because it's kind of like, I don't know what you want. Like, if you want to stay in the league, you kind of have to play different in different games. But if you're going to play that forward football and try to excite everyone, but you're getting stuff 4 or 5-0, it's because Burnley were overcommitting, and then they're getting caught on the break. And any goalkeeper in that position, sadly, will look poor because of it, because there's going to be lots of goals shipped against them. So it's one of those where, I'd like to see him come into, if it does, it looks like it's going to happen probably. So I'd just like to see him with a better defence, because no offence to Burnley, we do have a better defence. And then again, it's the exciting thing is he's under Eddie Howe. I know he's not a goalkeeper coach, but there's players that have come into the team like Anthony Gordon, and people are, why do we want him? Why do we want him? What's he going to do for the club? Blah blah blah. and just him working with him and stuff like that's the exciting thing. That if Eddie Howe can do his magic with him as well, there's no downside to it. Because again, he is an exciting young English goalkeeper. I know people get mad. I find it weird that people get so mad that we are keen on English players. It's this weird process of foreign players are like this big, brilliant thing, and some are very good. But I don't mind my club being a bit more who have we got who's actually from here. I don't mind that as much because again, you're trying to look at talent that can get better. Because again, imagine that Newcastle having England's #1 goalkeeper, England's #1 left back, England, blah blah blah, whatever. Crystal Palace fans are showing off that they've got the biggest representation in England. Fair play to him. He's taken all those players, so what can it's great. But yeah. No, I know that, Tristan. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Eddie Howe trains the goalkeepers, but Eddie Howe does manage them. And he does. He does help with that mentality and that togetherness of the squad. So, him having an input or any input with them is good, I think. You have to give him a chance. There's no point in, if he comes in and everyone just goes, whatever, we don't want him here, then what's the point? We're never going to support any player that comes in, just because they're young and may have made mistakes in the past. Who realistically, come on, who realistically wanted Nick Pope when we were linked with him? Come on, let's be honest.
Nobody.
A lot of people were the same when he kind of can stop some shots, but he got relegated with Burnley. It was the same stuff that Trafford's getting. And look at what Nick Pope has done. Yep. And again, I'm not just saying Eddie Howe is responsible for it, but look at how much his game's improved, and look at how he is the #1. He is the #1 goalkeeper. He's earned that spot at Newcastle. And some of the stuff he's done, and yes, he's done some stupid stuff, but every goalkeeper does. But he's done some phenomenal stuff and saved us from games. He's kept us in games. So, you have to give Trafford a chance if you buy him. I don't like this whole thing of he's crap because he's crap for Burnley.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pope was crap now and again for Burnley as well. There was games that he was phenomenal and there was games that he wasn't that great. I saw Trafford in the Arsenal game when Burnley played them, and I thought he was unbelievable in that game. Yes, they scored goals, but I thought Trafford was really good, and I was like, "Cool, he's a prospect that could do something." So I just hate this whole thing of get a player in just because he isn't the most popular namesake, player. A lot of fans kind of go, whatever, who wants him, get rid of him. I'd rather give him a chance, because. Again, who's heard of Minte until he played well? Again, come on, let's be fair. Who heard of Papa Cisse before we took a punt on him? Just because he was scoring for fun and was it Frankfurt we got him from? Was it Frankfurt? No, Freiburg. Was it Freiburg? I'm trying to remember who we got. Is it Freiburg we got Cisse from? Someone like that. Yeah. Because they were near the bottom of the league, and he was just scoring for fun. And I think we just thought, he scores. Let's take a punt. Sorry, Trafford can't reach the crossbar.
Yeah, like I said, there's a few people out there that are obviously disgruntled about us going for him, and Foxy's put one out there about he's a decent prospect. I don't think he would disagree with that. The fact is, spending a good chunk of money to bring a backup keeper, he might reach his potential. Pope costs less. Now, the problem is we do need a keeper, and that's fact. We know Karius is gone. Pope's got, if you think about it, Pope has already had 3 shoulder injuries with Burnley, so he has got a problem with his shoulders. Last year potentially cost us 3 or 4 places with a shoulder injury. Going forward, he's not getting any younger, and unfortunately, with the amount of shoulder injuries he's got, he's obviously got some deformity there of some description for them to keep popping. Not everybody's structure is exactly the same. So, from my point of view, if we can spend under 20 million to bring a good prospect, as Foxy has rightly said, then I think it's good business. Because if we don't get him, How many people out there are going to be happy to have Gillespie as your number 2 and potentially number 1?
Exactly. Come on. Exactly. And that's what you're facing that prospect of, because Dubravka's going, he's gone, in my opinion. He's already, that's probably being processed as we speak. Like, looking at clubs and looking to get him, somewhere else. So
Dubravka when he went to Man United, Paul,
Yeah.
you know that. He didn't want to sit on the bench at Newcastle, so he went to Man United to sit on the bench there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, by him doing that, trying to be the big I am because he threw his dummy out the pram, he'd lost the hearts of Newcastle supports. And he's never going to get that back, matey. So he's gone.
Ooh. And it's a shame because, I'll never forget his debut. What's his debut? It's just phenomenal. It's like Tim Krul. I'll never forget Tim Krul's debut in what's it called back then? It was just the Europe Cup, wasn't it? Whatever it was when we were in it back then. What a debut! Again, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Thinking, who's this Tim Krul guy? Who is this guy? He's all right. So he's always going to have a place there, but it is a shame with how that went with Man United and the whole come on boys, and it's like, whoa, Martin, what are you doing? Why did you do that? Right, we've got to get into it because this is going to be the most negative part of today, but we have to, we can talk, I know it's not, we can talk about it because Newcastle players are involved, so at least we can kind of link it there. But England played Iceland, the team that loved to beat us. The supermarket loves to beat us anyway.
I'm going to say, so does Asda, so does Morrison.
And again, it's this whole thing of Gareth's gone with his pretty much his first 11, apart from Bellingham, I would say, pretty much. Whether Luke Shaw starts or not, who knows? But I don't think he's going to be fit enough for the first game. So you're thinking, okay, so he's gone with quite a strong, strong 11 against a team that have got nothing to play for. Come on, let's just be honest. Iceland are coming just to, to take in Wembley and to see what they can do in the game. And I know it's a friendly and people are saying don't overreact, but it's just the style of football is so dire and it's so drab and it's so oh my God, it's so pedestrian. And it's we have this plethora of amazing attacking players, and only Gareth Southgate could make us look so boring when you have people like Phil Foden on the pitch, you have Anthony Gordon on the pitch, Saka came on later, and I've never known a manager to make a team look so dry and so boring. I know Iceland had something to do with it. I know Iceland were playing that game. But it's just, we didn't have any answer to it. It was just, there was nothing. I mean, I thought Gordon was probably one that went on the highlights of it on the pitch until he got hooked off. I thought Cole Palmer was doing okay. His nice pass to Harry Kane should have been a goal, but it is what it is. But their goal just came from poor mistakes from the defence. Aaron Ramsdale probably could have done better. It's a difficult one because it's hit quickly. So it's one of those that could go in.
And through Stone's legs, which obviously would have incited him. So,
but it's and then we just had nothing. I think we had one shot on target for 90 minutes. And it's just
what did you think of Trips, Paul?
I think he tries. He's definitely trying. I saw a few runs because we'd get on the ball and he was bombing like he does he was doing his Newcastle sort of run.
It was, absolutely.
People to start looking for him. And whether that's just not understand, maybe that, because I get it's hard because England don't play together that often. So whether they're not picking up on his runs and they think, oh, Trips has run on, I can't. Oh, now he's marked, so I can't go to him. But it's just, I think he's endeavouring, but I don't. Put it this way, with the squad numbers, Gareth Southgate's pretty much said that if Luke Shaw is fit, he's going to play. Whereas with the squad number announcement, his first choice is definitely Luke Shaw, but I don't think Luke Shaw is even going to be fit until at least the second game. And then that whole thing of match fitness and whatever. So Trippier, no doubt, was going to start the first tournament game on the Sunday. But yeah, he looks the same for Newcastle at the moment. He just looks a bit kind of lost. He looks a bit kind of
a bit leggy, isn't he?
Like,
You know,
yeah, he looks a bit.
I just found he's a bit leggy, and he was making the runs and he was doing some nice link-up play. And yes, he's playing left back because again, you've got that change of position. But the one thing I love to see, and again, it was that encouragement. It was that captain armband. It was him trying to encourage and drive the players on.
Mm,
I do find, obviously, with the way Iceland played with this low block and encouraging our midfielders, Mainu, and like you said, they all then wanted to get in and around the box, and all that was doing was closing the space down for others to run into. So we
mm,
were actually blocking out. We were defensive wall ourselves. Hence, we couldn't even get a shot off. And it always it always goes backwards. It always goes sideways, and it always ends up with nothing. And this is what I keep saying. Yeah, I thought Anthony Gordon started very slowly. I thought he's obviously still not 100% match sharp,
mm,
because obviously he's been away for a couple of games now. But I thought once the game started to get going, he got more involved in it. And there was one or two moments with him in trips, which would look good. But again, it's always going to be the end product. Now, obviously, he's picked these two teams for the table, the start of of the tournament, because he knows the three teams that he's facing are also going to do a low block. Now,
mm.
if we play anything like we played yesterday, we'll be lucky to actually make it through the group stage.
Mate, I'm not even kidding.
And that's the frustrating thing about it.
And that's my worry that, we've got you got teams with more nous than, again, I'm not trying to be funny on Iceland, but we've got teams in that group that have got more nous and more, better quality players than Iceland. And I'll tell you right now, if we play anything like that, we ain't getting out of the bloody group. I'm not even kidding. Take us back to bloody England. As Beer saying, Serbia won, England 0, and I could see that happening. I really could. They get a goal just like Iceland did, and they just literally brick wall it, and we can't do nothing about it. We just huff and puff, and nothing happens. I hope that isn't true, but I think I've said it for the last couple of months. I don't understand where the whole England are going to walk it has come from. Because yes, we do have phenomenal players. My issue has never been the players; it's always been the manager, because he just doesn't play the right football for these lads. He's obsessed with holding defensive midfielders. He's too worried to let people have freedom. He never seems to pick the right players, even though he says he's being bold. I mean, he's dropped some people I didn't think he would drop, so I'll give him that. But he's still taking players that are injured, and the stuff we've been mad at him before. Why is Lewis Dunk there? If Lewis Dunk is injured, why is he there?
Why is he there? Absolutely.
Why is Luke Shaw there? Yeah, if Luke Shaw is injured and can't start until the second game into the tournament, what's he doing there? I just don't understand that logic of bringing someone who's may be able to play, not definitely. Bring someone who can actually play. I don't know. Saka can be bold if he was a washing powder. Yeah, look, I heard a rumour, whether it's true or not, but allegedly Southgate's made all these cuts to show big teams that he can make big calls. I heard that as an alleged link to him making these bold calls. If he likes dropping Rashford so much, he can manage Man United next season if he wants. And he can drop him. He can drop him for Man United as much as he did for England. But yeah, look, it's going to be a tough tournament. If we do scrape through the group, I think I saw a little track of what could happen, and I think if we get through to the next round, I think I can't remember who it was now. Was it anyway? I think quarterfinals would end up pretty much guaranteed to be someone like Italy. I think that's where we go. Anyway.
I think it's Italy and Germany then in the semis, isn't it? The way they've predicted it,
or France possibly.
If everybody gets through, something like that. Yeah, I know it's something crazy like that. And you know what we do with penalties with Germany?
We lose.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
it's-
he has picked a squad of penalty takers this time, though, so it's not too bad.
I know that's
So,
where. That's why
shall
you
we
should
get
have.
on to the exciting bits? I've got to talk about the kit, mate. I'm sorry, I'm edging to talk about the kit.
Oh,
What does
yeah, go.
everybody think of this new kit, guys?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a negative
has
portion.
everybody? Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, we were talking behind the scenes, and I know there's a lot of social media hype about the red kit. Oh, I don't like red, and blah blah blah. But you again, anybody of my age that remembers the '70s, early '70s, that used to be our away kit,
Yeah.
the burgundy colour. Hensford was the was the dreaded game. Ronnie Rashford's thunderbolt from 25, 30 yards. That unfortunately, I mean, Supermax scored a great header, but obviously we lost 2-1 at Hensford at the replay. But I can't see why people should knock the way Adidas have tried to replicate the olden days, the olden era, by bringing in these kits. I mean, again, we were talking about the green strip that isn't
Oh,
out yet, which looks
love
absolutely
it.
amazing.
Love it.
Again, it's a meme on the entertainers' days,
Yeah.
and I think Adidas have done brilliant. And like I say, I've watched, as Paul has, the behind the scenes with the lads playing in the social club and the reasons behind it and how they've pulled it together. And obviously, you've got Isaac walking around in North Shields, which just brings lovely memories. Um, but for me, again, I can't believe, as soon as they see the red strip, everybody just thinks of the Mackham straight away, and it's as if they're giving them ammunition to knock us, but which is crazy, really. I was just wondering what people's thoughts that are watching think of the new green training strip, and I believe that they're looking at the minute for new sponsors for the training gear. Paul, I don't know
Yeah,
whether you've heard anything.
no, they are. I mean, look, it's one of the things that another thing we've been so far behind on in the past with not, with not doing that sort of stuff. I'm just getting a new video from Win. Sorry, I'm just downloading that as we speak. Don't know what it is, but
Brilliant.
yeah, no, we've been behind on that sort of stuff for years, not getting sponsors for that sort of stuff. So it's clever. Any way we can make this money, any way we can scrape any of this money together just to shut the Premier League up, I'm happy. Whether I know some people say they hate the noon, and I'm not a big fan of it, that noon thing in there, but it's worth money. I know it's annoying, but it is worth big money. As long as it's not. I'm glad that we've got getting rid of the betting stuff, because this, I hate. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's
It
horrible.
is. It looks cheap, doesn't it?
They were a good company, as in because they had banter with the fans, and funny they were a fun sponsor when they sponsored us. They understood Newcastle. They did a lot of the Mickey taking of Sunderland and stuff. So I'll never mind them for that sort of stuff. And they did a lot of nice things like giveaways and so they're a decent sponsor when it came to that. But it just is. The seller is a big upgrade. It just is. It looks nicer. It's a nicer company. The company does really cool stuff that's linked to Newcastle. Like tonight, one of the things being linked to, which is great. But it's like Bia saying the noon patch bought Botman. Exactly, mate. That you got it. So as much as I know it's not the best, it's not the big. I know we don't really want it, but we have to admit that's what football is. It's just like UFC. If you like UFC fighting, their shorts are filled with sponsors, and even the ring now has a sponsor. In WWE, Logan Paul's outfit sponsors the ring now.
Yeah.
So it's just this is just where life is. That this is where it's just shameful where football and what the Premier League are making clubs do, because they're not willing to understand that you can be a bit flexible when it comes to the PSR rules and not make anyone go out of business, but they're obsessed with keeping it that way. I'm hoping that they finally get to realise that. I don't know, I don't know what it's going to take. is it going to, is this court case going to make any difference? I'm not sure, whether it does or not, but is it going to take another bloody Super League threat or whatever, another walkout to fight? I just don't know, because I get it. I don't want clubs like Reading happening, and in Burton. Was it Burton? Have I got it right? Was it Burton that were in loads of trouble at one point? I think it was Burton. You don't want stuff like that. Derby, Derby, one of the club that was in big trouble at one point. You don't want. No one wants that. No one wants that to happen. Of course not. But at the same time, you can't just keep shackling club. It's funny. It's like buying a shop and then being told, well, you bought the shop, you can't do nothing else.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just going back on kicks, I'm going to put this up on Mark Kerrigan. Mark Kerrigan's put down that Newcastle played red, blue, and yellow, yellow and blue in the 70s. Yeah, they did, matey. But again, like I said, all I'm trying to point out is the fact that when I watched them at Hereford in '72, they were in an all maroon strip. It was a deep red. People say burgundy, whichever way you want to look at it. And I loved it. The biggest problem with black and white stripes and a red away kit, everybody in the league had virtually similar colours back in them days. So yes, they did also play in a red, blue, and yellow and blue kit in the '70s. But again, I was watching another social media feed, and there's been talk about potentially bringing similar to the Brazil strip out in the future. Adidas at the minute are really looking into where we can go with our strips, and a lot of supporters love the yellow strip. And it wasn't one of my favourites, I must admit, but again, everybody's got favourites, and that's what nostalgia is, isn't it? It's about looking back, and we'll all talk about how you saw Roy with his shirts that he's got proud hanging up. Chris has got the same. I've got mine still in the bags, believe it, on the plastic bags in my drawer, and that's how it is. And to me, the reasons why I bring up the colours, it's more about the nostalgia side of things. They have really done their due diligence when it comes down to manufacturing kits. And I'm sure this is one of many that's going to come out in the future. And like I said, there was talk about having a similar to the Brazil kit, yellow shirt, white shorts, and blue socks or something like that, which would be lovely to see. I'm not sure how true that is, to be fair. That's just like I said, that's just hearsay. It's about pushing the colours. If anybody's watching from Adidas, yes, please. That'd do me nicely. And that's what it is. It's about putting smiles on our faces, and that's what I'm trying to allude to, is the fact that the amount of happy faces that I've seen on social media across the board, Newcastle fans that have just got their, and I'm talking about our mates on the show from Malaysia, Dom and the likes, who's very happy to have been able to get his kits and everything else. So from my point of view, it's a case of, you can see what they're trying to do. You can see what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to get names and sponsors on every piece of kit that we've got, even the training ground. We've heard that they were in Monaco, obviously talking to a potential sponsor. Is that something that's going to be coming on the training kits? Who knows? But all I'm trying to say is they're going in the right direction, aren't they?
Well, that's it, isn't it? So again, another man who likes to put smiles on faces. So there's another exclusive. I don't know what aspect ratio this is going to be in. So anyone who has a bad neck, I do apologise on behalf of Win if it does go crooked. But he has sent us another exclusive report from the quayside.
So things are heating up here.
On the news and everything, man. The North East News, mate, walk past it. I'm just going down together with that.
Half an hour. we can do a little bit better than that. How's everybody doing? We are so excited to bring you what we are going to bring you tonight. Stella have one of the most spectacular shows you will ever see down here on Newcastle's quayside, and we are thrilled so many of you are here already. First show doesn't start until 10:30, but it's going to be absolutely spectacular. We'll have some Newcastle United legends walking on water. Can't wait for that. Wait for it. We also project one of those spectacular 3D projections onto the Baltic Flour Mill than you will ever see. We are talking serious goosebumps time today. A huge thanks to Stella and Newcastle United, who've teamed up to bring us the most exciting event. We've got two shows, 10:30 and 10:50. You are more than welcome to stay for both. We would love you to hang around. It's going to get busy, so make sure you grab a great vantage point. Get excited, because this is really, really special. Grab yourself a drink, find yourself a good spot, and don't forget, if you put it on social media, hashtag spectacular every day, hashtag Stella, hashtag NUFC. Who's excited? Get ready. The countdown is on well and truly. We'll speak to you again very shortly.
Well, thank you, Win. Probably get a copyright claim for that bloody music, but there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I like. But no, it looks brilliant. It's a really nice turnout.
It's like every time, isn't it?
If it's as good as it sounds, it's going to be brilliant. It really is going to be fantastic. I've heard, hopefully I do. I've heard they are going to put it on YouTube and stuff, or maybe do it live from there. So, but we
were trying to link it to us, wasn't we? If it started at 10 o'clock, but obviously it's just not going to get dark enough to get the real effects from it. So apologies for that, guys, because that was the idea of moving our show to 9 o'clock, just to tag that one onto the end of it, and go from there. But we're not going to hang around for half an hour. Well, I'm sure there'll be, like Paul said, it'll be all over social media, live broadcast somewhere.
We'll probably have it tomorrow. Win will surely get it all the stuff for us. Have interviews of all holograms, no doubt, and good old Win. The what's that? Why is it 10 a.m.? No, 10 p.m. Oh, 10 p.m. Yeah, you said Mark. Yeah. Well, like I said, but they put it late to try and make it because it's going to need to be dark. So I think that's why I've done it at 10 p.m. But they've obviously, because right now it's 10 p.m. here and it's only just really dusk here. So to get the required thing, it's like a Pink Floyd concert. You couldn't start a Pink Floyd concert until about at least 11 if you wanted to write. If you wanted to write effects, you'd have to start at a certain time. So it's one of those things. So 10:30 and 10:50. Yeah, so it'll be nice. Plenty dark enough by then, I'm sure. And I can't wait. I can't see what they do. Again, it's just a great thing that there's, again, a sponsor. It isn't, it's just great that someone's bothered to do it.
Absolutely.
I can't thank them enough that they care enough to want to do something for us. So, I'm never gonna complain.
KDW's talking about Roddy Rashford. I'm sure he has passed away, but yes is the answer.
But well, that's 10 o'clock, guys. It's a Saturday. I'll let you get to the show. If there'll be plenty of links for the 10:31, so I'll let you guys get to that. Thanks for coming, though. Really do appreciate it. The usual spiel, like, unlike, comment, all those good things. Send us many super chats. Hit the bell. Hit whatever. I don't know, hit Chris. Tell him to get back to work because he's never. When's he at work anymore? It's the mugs keeping the channel floating now.
We're on again tomorrow at 9, aren't we?
Yeah, 9 o'clock again. So, it's just one of those things. That one lad that loves when I do this. He loves it so much. He doesn't complain at all. This is for you, my friend. 2 days in a row. So, keep happy.
Thanks to all the mods in the background as well, doing their usual work in the background as always. So. That's it. Thank you ever so much, everybody.
Thanks to Win for our roving report.
Yeah,
we'll see you tomorrow. think of some questions for tomorrow because I am running out of things to talk about when it comes to Newcastle because we're not doing much. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow. All the best.
See you later. Bye bye.
Chris,
No,
you see that? Chris, you see that? See that, Chris? Just put that there.
Oh, don't give it to Burn. Don't give it. Oh, just hoof it, man. Oh, we passed it back to him, and he.
Hoof the twat! Fuck's sake, man.